Once upon a time, there were two frogs. They were Frog and Toad. They were friends. In the spring, Frog ran to Toad's house and asked him to play around together. But Toad refused it. Toad chose to stay home along the day. Frog forced Toad to go out from the house into the porch. It was April. There was clear warm light. They could begin the whole new year together. But Frog thought that there were a lot of activities that can be done for that time. Frog asked Toad to count stars in the sky, but Toad refused it again. Toad chose to go back at home and slept again. Toad have been slept since November. Toad asked Frog to come back again to his house and wake him up in May. Frog took a look to Toad's calendar and realized that it was May. So, Frog waked Toad up immediately. And then they play around outside together. The story. One day in the summer, Frog was not feeling well. Toad, as his friend, tried to treat Frog well. Toad made him a cup of tea. Then Frog asked Toad to telling him a story, but Toad couldn't do it, even though he had tried some ways to create a story. Toad walked up and down, stood on his head, put a glass of water on his head, and banged his head to the wall. But unfortunately, after Toad banged his head to the wall, he felt pain. But Frog felt much better. Frog offered Toad to tell him a story, and Toad accepted it. Frog told a story about themselves. After Toad felt much better, they went to the meadow. Toad lost his button. Frog tried to find out the Toad's button. He found some buttons, but those were not Toad's button. After Toad arrived at his house, he realized that the button was in the floor. After that, Toad saved all of the buttons over the jacket and gave it to the frog. A swim. One day, Toad and Frog went to swim, but Frog did not wear bathing suit. So, Toad decided to keep to wear the bathing suit and put his bathing suit. Then, Frog must not look at Toad until he got into the water. Toad told to Frog that he will look funny in bathing suit. They swam all afternoon, but suddenly a turtle came along to the riverbank. Then Toad said to the frog to tell the turtle to went away because he did want the turtle look at Toad in bathing suit. Then Frog tell the reason to the turtle, but unfortunately some lizards that were sitting nearby, a snake that crawled out of the grass, through dragonflies, and white mouse heard what Frog said. They wanted to see Frog in bathing suit. They sat on the river bank to wait him come out of the water. Toad went to all of them in order to run away from the river bank, because he was getting cold in the water. Turtle, lizard, snake, and wild mouse didn't want run away, so Toad decided to come out of water with his bathing suit. Then they were laughing together because he looked funny in his bathing suit. He picked up his clothes and went to home. The ladder. Toad was sitting on his front porch and loud said. Frog came along. He asked why he was looking sad. Toad answered that he waited for the mail to come, but there was no mail come. Suddenly, Frog wanted to go home. He wrote on the paper and put in an envelope. Then on the envelope he wrote a letter for Toad. Frog saw a snail that he knew. Frog asked him to take the letter to Toad's house and put it in his mailbox. Frog came back to Toad's house. He saw Toad was in bed taking a nap. Frog asked Toad to look at the window and waiting to snail came. But Toad gave up to waiting the mail because he thought that there was no mail for him. Then Frog told that there was any mail for Toad because he wrote it for him. He wrote in the mail, Dear Toad, I am glad that you are my best friend. And Toad was very happy. Then 4 days later, the snail got to Toad's house and gave him the letter.